Welcome to the Digital Ecommerce Podcast. I'm your host, Dan Lam, and today I'm thrilled to have Yaron with us today. Yaron is a fascinating entrepreneur who has bootstrapped his multiple seven-figures e-commerce store while traveling around the world. With his background in industry engineering and his experience in the special force, he brings in a unique perspective to automation and scaling an e-commerce store. Welcome, Yaron.
Thank you so much.
Yaron, how are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for asking. Would you like to give us some of your background, like how is the special force and industry engineering helping you to shape your e-commerce space?
Yeah, sure. I'd be happy to. So basically, I usually start my story. I think my story starts when I served in the special forces. I learned a lot about myself and a lot about team working, but I also realized that I don't want any commanders above me. So that means I don't want any bosses and no team leaders above me. And basically, I realized that I must become a self-sustained entrepreneur. So after I finished the army, I started studying industrial engineering. And after graduating, I started working in a media buying agency in Tel Aviv. After 3 months, I started spending already $1 million on a monthly basis just buying media in Facebook ads. And I realized that they don't have an upside or a downside. Things were kind of boring. So luckily, I met a friend of mine, a childhood friend of mine in a bar in Tel Aviv, and he showed me a screenshot of a Shopify store. And he told me that he was making money from dropshipping. And until that moment in time, I thought that dropshipping is just like, BS, that gurus are selling the courses, but no one is really making money out of it. But it was a childhood friend of mine, so I trusted him. The morning after, I built a Wix store. And at the same evening, we made our first dollar. When I say we, I refer to my wife and I. And we realized we can make money online. So we started investing more in the store. And since I already spent a ton of money on Facebook as other people money, I also was kind of dumb to spend a lot of my money as well on Facebook ads. So we scaled these stores and funnels to multiple seven figures. That one went great until the iOS crisis and the iOS update in 2021. That kind of changed the whole landscape, especially for dropshippers who were making money on the front end. And then I realized that I'm not really down to sell stuff to people that don't really need it and being aggressive with running ads. So I decided to move away into the world of automation and streamlining processes and generating more revenue just using code and automation. And this has been my focus in the last recent years. And I'm happy to elaborate about any follow-up questions.
Cool. So why do you want to shift from e-com to automation? Like, what are the biggest inspiration?
Yeah, so first of all, I say that I think the e-com game has changed significantly since I started, and it has become way more capital intensive. So if you don't have a lot of capital, I don't think it's such a good idea to enter the e-commerce game. Obviously, there are outliers. You can still make money in e-com, but the probability is pretty low, and I like going to places where the probability is rather high. If you are interested in raising money and building an e-com store with a lot of cash flow, that's fine. But it's not my thing. I prefer to work on my own, do my own thing. So this is why for bootstrapping, I don't think e-commerce is necessarily the best solution. Now, why I moved specifically to automation is because I figured out while I was dropshipping that the part I enjoyed the most was actually finding inefficiencies and optimizing them. Mm-hmm. So, for example, during Black Friday in 2020, we were spending $5,000 per day on Facebook ads. And suddenly my checkout broke. And I was spending like $3,000 of traffic from Facebook to a broken checkout. And this drove me crazy. So I decided to build an automation. Funny enough, it was using Zapier that basically analyzed the conversion rates in my store in the last 2 hours. And if the conversion rate dropped or there was an anomaly, it would have called me even if it was the middle of the night. And this is an example of something that I really enjoyed. So I noticed that I really enjoyed these automations and building them. So I said, okay, let's follow my passion, which is also, I believe, makes a lot of financial sense. And this is why I shifted to automations.
So what are the things that we can automate as an e-commerce owner?
This is a great question. And this changes very often these days because of the capabilities of AI. And basically, we're at a certain point in time that I believe that any process that you can come up with that has specific rules, conditions, if X is above a certain number, do this, unless, so there's conditions. So I think you can automate it. So, for example, product research, you can automate. Anything related to customer support, you can automate. Fulfillment, you can automate. A ton of things you can automate. I think if you can build an SOP for a VA and a VA can follow the instructions, you can probably also automate this.
Right. It's interesting that you mentioned to look at the uptime of a website store. You're just looking at the checkout on the conversion rate.
Mm-hmm.
Is that like the only thing that you created for also in the past, or other than you said you there's like in fulfillment or this or that? Like, what are the things that could impact the biggest on the revenue when it comes to automation? What are the e-commerce store owners should install today to make sure that their revenue is going to be increasing, or maybe efficiency increase as well?
Yeah, I always say, many people say that content is king. I say that content is the queen and context is the king. So it really depends on the context. So e-commerce is a very wide definition. And it really depends what are the biggest opportunities for the business. So I would say that if you're heavily relying on Facebook ads and you have your own store, Shopify store, WooCommerce store, or whatever, and creative is the most important aspect in your game. So I would say you can automate creative generation. So for example, I created a Python script that basically took a ton of ads and regenerated video ads using code. So instead of outsourcing the editing phase to an editor and waiting for him to generate, 10 pieces per week, I created a code that generated 1,000 variations within 10 minutes. So this is an example if you're heavily relying on Facebook and you need fresh creatives all the time. If you're playing, a retail arbitrage game or Amazon game and you're heavily reliant on product research, so you can automate the product research, scrape data from competitors, from wholesalers, from platforms, and then do your own analysis of what product might work well. So it really depends. If you're more relying on retention, so you can automate retention aspects. So it really depends what is your lowest hanging fruit in your own store.
Let's talk about the research that you mentioned. As an e-commerce seller, we always launch product because if we're not launching, we're dying. So tell us like exact process that would you advise to do on the automation when it comes to the researching part.
Yeah, so let's imagine that I have a dropshipping store and I'm just looking for products that are trending in platforms such as Oberlo, AliExpress, whatever. So you can go to AliExpress, sort by the top selling products in a specific niche, scrape everything, put everything into an Excel. Then you can add your own parameters in order to analyze the trends. Let's say this product is showing an increase in sales in the last month. And based on this, you can decide whether or not you want to validate with your own eyes if this is a product that is a good opportunity, or you can also ask LLM, the AI or ChatGPT or whatever, to analyze the product if it fits specific criteria. So for example, I will scrape 100 products on day 1 and day 30. Then I would see the growth rate. Then I would give the LLM, OpenAI, parameters. Let's say price is a parameter for me because I like selling stuff at 5x markup. So if the price is below 5, if the product, if the product won't break, if the product has no colors, no variations, I score it as a better product. And then the LLM can verify all this stuff and give a score for all the products. And at the end of the day, it can send me a report of all the most relevant products. And this is just an example, that the sky is the limit as long as you have the imagination and you know what is the best process for your business.
So if I going to summarize for them is we will be getting some tools, say AliExpress and Oberlo, and then we will are we scraping their product daily, and then we will push it into Excel sheet and then let the LLM to analyze the Excel sheet, and come with the output. Is that what the process looks like?
Yeah, exactly. This is a simplistic process. You can do stuff that is way more complex, So also go into the website of the competitors, enter SimilarWeb, see what are the traffic sources. Let's say you're relying on Facebook ads, so you can go see if they have traffic from social channels. You can go later on to the Facebook ads library, see how many ads do they have, when did they launch the first ad. Like, the sky is the limit. It really depends on how you how do you manually do product research, and then you can just automate and scale it using automation. This is basically what I'm saying.
Okay. How about I will give an example that maybe a struggle that we have here. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to spy on. So we sell on, let's say, on Amazon. So when we sell on Amazon, we want to know whether or not if we have potential to sell outside of Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So what I need to do is I need to collect all the brand that is our competitors. Mm-hmm. I need to go search the Google Transparency ad library, and then Facebook ad library as well, and TikTok Creative Marketplace as well. I want to combine everything in one place to see how many ads they're running, and then what are the funnel looks like, because we want to develop the funnel as well into our funnel, and then we want to make it better, right? Is this something that is automatable?
For sure. I mean, let's break this down, because what an engineer does, or person who builds the automation, I think he has a few responsibilities. First of all, is being on top of the current tools, understanding capabilities, and second of all is structuring the process into different segments and understanding in which segment can be automated and to what is the scope. So, for example, let's say the research, it would be easy. Okay, let's go to Amazon, we scrape the names, we look in Google or DuckDuckGo for the brand, then we find the brand, we go to the website, we scroll to the bottom to the footer, we find the Facebook page, we go to the Facebook page, we go to the transparency, see all the ads. Okay, we can pull the number of ads. That was easy. Now we do the same for TikTok. Google ads, I don't know of a solution that allows you to see Google ads of a specific brand. Maybe you tell me otherwise. But after we've done this, we can go to the funnel. We can crawl the whole website. This is easy. And, just take the landing pages, screenshot the landing pages, run an analysis on that. Yeah, basically, it's possible, whatever. It's today, to be honest, the sky is the limit. So, but this is definitely doable. I did something similar to a client of mine. They are a B2B company, and they want to reach out to companies that are running Facebook ads. So basically, we scraped a directory of many B2B companies. Then we opened their website automatically. We found their Facebook page, and then we went to the page transparency, saw how many ads they were running, since when, and based on this, we decided if we will reach out or not.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be applied in D2C as well, as in whether or not they've been running ad. If they're running ad, it means that there's potential to run ad. Whether or not they're testing the ad or whether or not they're constantly generating the ad, we can look at the timing that back in every month, how many ads they have created, and therefore we can gauge whether or not there's potential for this product. Right?
Exactly.
What tools are we using?
It really depends on most of the tools today. Like, I wouldn't say most, but a lot of tools today can get the job done. So it boils down to your preference. So you can do it with only code, so with Python. Or you can use a no-code tool, N8N or Microsoft Power Automate. Pretty much all three of these can accomplish whatever you want. It really depends on what you prefer and your own preferences. But I would say, for me, the tool that I use the most is Microsoft Power Automate, then Python, and then N8N, which is similar to Make and Zapier in a way.
Python and what again? Sorry.
Microsoft Power Automate.
Power Automate. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We're seeing a surge in AI tool for e-commerce. Mm-hmm. Which one do you believe are actually worth implementing versus it's just a hype?
Come again? I'm not sure that I understood the question.
Which one do you? What kind of AI do you think that would stick versus it's just a hype?
I'm a big believer in AI. I think it's already saving a lot of time for many use cases, whether it's generating creative, generating copy, generating template, generating emails. So it's already very useful.
Mm-hmm.
I think that once text to video becomes more popular and actually works, it's going to be a real game changer for creative generation. And when people have more access to coding and automating, because coding is going to become easier, so I think people will become way more effective and things will start moving even faster. Sorry. I definitely don't think AI is just hype, but let's live and see.
Mm. Okay. If you start e-commerce again today, what is your ideal tech stack for a new e-commerce store?
This is a great question, and I've been asked this question many times. And I think, first of all, you must understand when you enter e-commerce that it's not as easy as it is being portrayed by some actors in the marketplace. If you want to succeed in e-commerce, you must be unique because the barrier to entry is very low. Anyone can just build a Shopify store or a WooCommerce store. So it's very easy to enter the game. But because of this, there is a lot of competition. So I think that you must think through and build a business plan and analyze what are going to be your competitive advantages, whether it's the ability to pour more capital in or the ability to generate unique angles like marketing angles. That being said, it's definitely a good opportunity for people who never did anything in the entrepreneurial space to just, get their feet wet and start testing and start optimizing. Did I answer your question?
It's all about, when it comes to e-commerce, it's about operational efficiency. We optimize fulfillment. It's all about optimizing our team as well, operation as well. Operation efficiency is one big thing that we have in our company. What are the things in operation that you think that would really increase the efficiency that everyone should include today immediately?
I think it really depends on your specific bottleneck. So let's say if you're a print-on-demand company and you still have designers making tweaks for the design before the t-shirt is shipped to the end customer. So this is a deficiency that you can optimize. If you have huge volumes and you have bottlenecks in fulfillment, so you can optimize the fulfillment. If you have deficiencies, I think fulfillment is the biggest operational deficiency, I guess. But this is usually deferred to a third party like 3PL or Amazon. So I don't think most of the listeners have their own fulfillment capabilities. Am I correct?
Yeah. They will have sometimes. If they're big enough, they will have their own 3PL.
Yeah. But I think I don't think that this is, unless, correct me if you see otherwise, but I don't think that operational deficiencies are the biggest bottleneck for most of the e-commerce players. Based on my observation, most of the e-commerce players just want to reduce marketing expenses of acquisition. But do you think otherwise?
Yeah, you're correct. If the e-commerce owner is just new, like if they don't have a team, there's not much operational efficiency to talk about. Yeah, you're correct. Yeah. So marketing spend is all about, like, to be fair, it's about the product itself, whether or not if you have done your research on the target audience. So I guess what you suggest is more on like the target research and how to make sure that our research is accurate in order to increase the operational. In order to increase the marketing efficiency, right?
Exactly. And another benefit, something that I've been using very often lately with my funnels and with clients, is using AI to help me be more data-driven. So, for example, we created 2 landing pages, identical for same product, different landing pages. So we went back and forth, me and the founder, sharing our perception of the landing page. Is it good? Is it bad? Whatever. And then I just gave both landing pages. I took a screenshot and I sent it to the AI and asked it to analyze it. And AI gave me an analysis of like the pros and cons of each landing page. Then we started driving traffic. And I told him, okay, I got this amount of clicks, this amount of add to carts, this amount of purchases. Before I had these metrics. Do you think this is significant, statistically significant? So he told me if it was statistically significant or not. And then I asked it, what should I do, in your opinion, in order to make sure that I have enough power in this test? Power and statistical significance are important when you're data-driven. So a lot of calculations that back in the days would have taken you a ton of time, you can use AI in order to leverage these calculations and be even more data-driven and kind of detach yourself from making stupid decisions because you're now relying on data.
Right. Yeah. I mean, data is definitely one thing that would make or kill your business if you didn't done right. And what's the prediction for the future automated e-commerce system in the next 3 to 5 years, especially like with the AI system that we're talking about?
I really don't have any idea of what will happen because things are moving so fast and evolving so fast. It's very hard to predict. I'm optimistic in my nature, so I think more people will be able to generate more profits. I hope that technology will create bigger levels of abundance. I think e-commerce is going to be easier from an operational perspective, but this just means that you will have to create better products and better solutions because marketing is probably going to be streamlined, operations is going to be streamlined, optimization of campaigns is going to be somewhat streamlined. So it's going to demand more creativity and just actually providing better solutions to the end customers. But I might be wrong, I don't know.
I would say, yeah. I mean, when everyone knows about AI, eventually it will become a tipping point. Everybody's using the same thing. So it all comes down to creativity. That's right. Yeah. I mean, at some point, it's not wrong. It's about like making sure that everyone knows about AI and implement AI. And then back in that time, creativity is the only game to win the game.
Exactly.
Right? Okay. Hey, Yaron, if we want to find you, where we can find you?
I guess the best place would be to check out my YouTube channel. Just look up Yaron Been, Yaron. Been is B-E-E-N. Yeah, I have a YouTube channel. I discuss data-driven automations. If people want to reach out and speak, they can do so via LinkedIn. Just look me up. My name is pretty unique.
It is, yeah. You've been Yaron Been, right? We put it into the show notes. And I think, Yaron, this has been incredibly insightful. Before we wrap up, I hope listener, you guys can just understand the AI right now is actually a era that we couldn't miss right now. If you're still using non-automation or non-AI stuff, you're definitely gonna be behind a lot of things on the table. So yeah, thank you, Yaron, for joining us today in Digital Ecommerce Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a reviews. Until next time,